What's going on, big brother? How you doing today? I'm fired
I,
up.
I'm doing well. I see you the lead man tonight. I see you.
Yeah,
So,
I'm working
yeah,
the controls. So I gotta make sure I get everything up to par. But it's a new role for me today, y'all. So if I slip up a few times, y'all forgive me. But this is a new role. How you feeling today?
I'm doing well, man. I can't wait to get into this subject matter. I see you got on the bottom of the cross saying growing old versus growing up. Now, isn't
Yes.
that something?
Yeah, a lot of us, myself included, at times we're immature. We play too much. We're always playing like children, and it has its time where we can have fun, but we're doing it entirely too much. Some of us who have children, we're trying to be buddy buddy with them all the time instead of putting them in their place when they're 12 or 13. But we're going to dive a little bit into to that today. Let me go ahead and get started for our number one, our talking point. Let me see here. Ways that adults need to grow up. I'll let you take it and then I'll piggyback off.
Yeah, because Chaz, we got to talk about the ways that many of us adults need to grow up. We don't like to have this discussion because a lot of us we want to be old, but we act like little children. And I
Yeah,
think all of us should be longing to grow. You're never too old to grow and to learn. But
right.
unfortunately, a lot of us as adults, we got to look at some practical ways. And I hope the points that you put on the board, I
Mhm.
hope the screen rather, I hope that they're practical so we can just kind of get into them and look at how can we grow up, because a lot of us are just we're too old to be acting the way we act.
I agree with you, brother. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. As number one, our first talking point is accountability. Taking accountability for your actions without blaming others or making excuses. Exactly. We do things a lot as far as always saying, especially, I hate to say this, brother, but with the police, sometimes when we get pulled over, we're wrong. Sometimes we're wrong. We always say it's the cops that they're doing things wrong or they're always killing us. Sometimes, brother, we push their buttons, calling them pigs, calling them sloppy, all these things. And then sometimes this is accountability that nobody wants to take, that sometimes us blacks are wrong for doing that. And that was pretty much all I had on that one because I'm just sick and tired of on the news, and I don't have a percentage on it, but I see it a lot. And when you go back and look, well, why did that brother get gunned down? And I hate to say this to this brother's family, but he caused some of it sometimes, brother. What's your take on that?
I think you're absolutely spot on. And that goes back to how a lot of us don't grow up. Because when you grow up and you are told to pull over and you're told to give license and you're told to ask, answer questions, we have to learn how, as adults, there is a decorum that we should have. And
Yes.
if we haven't been taught that, which many of us, we haven't been taught. And that's why I think this discussion is very important, because the accountability has to do with we have to be responsible for many of the things that we do. But see, as it says on the screen here, taking responsibility for your own actions without blaming others and then or making excuses, because we like to shift the blame.
Yeah.
It's always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
That means we're just avoiding responsibility.
Hmm.
And that's why I think we need to talk about how a lot of us have grown old, but we haven't grown up. and
Okay.
and this is why a lot of people have issues, because some of us are just we're acting like little babies and we're old as dirt, man, but
Yeah.
we act our shoe size as opposed to our age. And I think now we need to have that discussion about this is the way we grow up. We got to take accountability, Chaz. We really do.
Well said. And I don't want to ignore our viewers here. I'm starting to see a lot of comments piling in. So let me go ahead and read one of them. We got Sister Barbara. She fires in here. She says, Hotep King. So appreciate that, sister, for showing up. Sister Mashonda fires behind her. She says, hello. We appreciate her. And we got Sister Marie in the building. She's fired in here since Hotep Brothers. We appreciate all you guys for logging in as always. And like I said, I'm got a lot of hats that I'm wearing tonight. So let me go ahead and get back to these banners here.
And I want to say that while you're going to the banner, Chaz,
Okay.
I think well, sometimes we got to take time out and just stop and smell the roses and thank the people.
Yeah.
Those are faithful. Those are faithful people that watch this broadcast come rain, sleet, or snow.
Yeah.
And we can't appreciate them enough for saying,
Right.
hey, I want to be a part of something that's progressive, something that's positive,
Right.
something that's teaching, something that's not nonsensical or foolish.
Right.
Because, a lot of times we don't have an appetite for these types of subject matters. But
Hmm.
as you can see, we need to grow up. And that's one of the things that's wrong with us as a community and as a people. A
Hmm.
lot of us are just too childish, and we got to be able to talk to people and let them know, hey, you're going to have to grow up, because if you don't, life is going to be much more difficult, because when you're a child and you act like a child, a lot of times we don't know how to deal with our situations. So again, I want
Absolutely.
to thank them for coming in.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback too, brother, off of what you said about the viewers who are constantly faithful, even if they can't watch it right now. Some of them go back and watch it on the playback. And you guys are more than welcome. As many comments as you like, we don't care as long as it's on topic and it's not anything with profanity or anything like that. We welcome you guys, and that's all I want to say about that. Number two here says self-discipline, doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And I have one example as far as waking up early. We love to hit that snooze button. We love to keep snoozing and snoozing, and that's when the mistake happens, where we oversleep, we get to work late, we're fighting traffic, we're frustrated, we're angry. So waking up early, give yourself enough time to get your clothes on, iron, get your coffee made, get your espresso, whatever you need. That way you're ready to go. And I can't say that enough, because I'm a victim of that at times, to where I'm pressing that snooze button, and then that's when things happen. So when you hear that alarm, give yourself enough time to wake up. That's one part of self-discipline. And the other part I have, so I'm looking at my notes here, studying, making sure that you're well prepared for these things instead of just shooting in the dark, hoping you hit something. I'll pass it on to you, brother.
Yeah, and that's so true. And when you look at what the comment says, it says doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That last part is crucial,
Yeah.
because a lot of us, we go on our emotions, however we feel. I don't feel like it, and I think that's a detriment to a childish mindset. So we're talking to adults tonight,
Yep.
adults only, and we're encouraging you that discipline, self-discipline, it's not about how you feel.
Yeah.
It's about what needs to be done, Chaz.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in my life that needs to be done, even when I don't feel like it. And I have to constantly tell myself, it ain't about how you feel.
Right.
It's about what needs to be done. And there's so much that has to be done in our community, in our
Mm-hmm.
homes, just in our personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we grow up. We grow up by having self-discipline. You can't give it to me. I can't give it to you, but
Right.
we can look at what needs to be done in our lives. And I'm glad that's on there, because pretty soon I'm sure we're going to talk about how a lot of us, we have a lack of control.
Yeah.
We give in to temptation. Well,
Yeah.
I don't feel like working out, so I'm not going to do it. Or I don't feel like that. And Chaz, that's bad. It's really an immature mindset, man.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch. I was literally going to say that for myself included, because there's some times where I just don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like fighting that traffic. I don't feel like putting up with these people at the gym making noises and just obnoxious and things like that. But like you said, you have to do it even when you don't feel like it. And with that being said, we got some more comments, brother. Let me get to those. Brother Raymond. I'm sorry. He fires in here. He says, Hotel, what's going on, brother Ray? He also fires in here and says, it's a thin line between childish and boyish charm. Absolutely. He's spot on with that. And Sister Mashonda said, she says, yep, going to work every day. Yeah, because these jobs sometimes can get taxing. We're tired. We're tired of the overtime. We're tired of the management. We're just frustrated. But she's saying, I got to keep trucking and get through it. And then her next comment says, but it has to be done. Well said, it has to. Nobody's going to do it for you, so you got to do it. What should
Yeah, she's right. She's right, Chaz. This is a mature mind that says, I'm going to do what has to be done. I
Yeah.
don't care whether it's rain, sleet, or snow. I'm
Mhm.
going to do what has to be done. And as Raymond said, a lot of us men, and we may not want to hear what I'm about to say, but I have
Uh-oh.
to say it now.
Uh-oh.
This is what I got to say about us men. Some of us, not all of us, some of us. We want to be men, Chaz, but we're little boys. We're little
Mm.
boys. We're little boys in that we don't do what men do. See,
Yeah.
we do what boys do.
Mhm.
And as he said, it's childish the way some of us act. And
Yeah.
so we have to look at, as a man, there are things that men should do, and there are things that boys do. But when we become a man, we should be old enough and grow up to do the things that men do, like take care of our families,
Right.
take care of our communities, take
Hmm.
care of our knowledge, take care of just the things that has to be done so that our communities won't keep, being always run down and
Yeah.
just trashed.
Yeah. Brother Ray fires in here one more time. He says, a man has to do what a man has to do. Can't feed mouths off how you feel. Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
cannot
that's
do
good.
that. And we got one more comment. Sister Barbara fires in behind him and says, teach that, big brother. We
Yeah.
appreciate your support. Let's go ahead, brother, and get back to the next one here. Number 3, health ownership. Actively caring for your body instead of ignoring it and hoping it fixes itself. Absolutely.
Don't you go on no rant, Chaz. I know this is your pet peeve. You better not go on no rant on
Oh
this one.
no. Oh no, I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to be a little bit light today. Basically, like we just said, working out, exercising. Sometimes our body is telling us we have certain ailments and we ignore it. We'll say we'll go to sleep. Hopefully in the morning it goes away. Hopefully if I take this Advil, it goes away. And sometimes that doesn't work. And when that doesn't work, that's your body telling you, hey, I need to go to the doctor, get whatever, my shoulder or my back looked at because something severe is going on. But just sitting there, like you like to mention, praying that it goes away. It's not. Sometimes you got to get off that couch and get to the doctor if it's something that's aching you. What's your take on that, brother?
And I want to add to that because I want to put the part where it's not so much about the doctor, which you're right. Some of us have ailments that we need to see a physician.
Yeah.
But some of us, man, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I know we're going to lose viewership when I say what I say because I think
Uh-oh.
we have to take off the gloves and we have to be honest and say that a lot of us, we don't take care of our bodies, man.
Yeah.
We ignore our bodies. A lot of us, we eat the wrong things. We put the wrong things
Mm.
in our bodies. We put the wrong things in our mind. We
Yes.
put the wrong things in our heart. We
Mhm.
constantly neglect our body. We're neglecting our health. We're ignoring our personal health. And some of it has to do with us stop being so lazy. And
Yeah.
that's what I mean. We're gonna have to play hardball in love because if you're gonna be grown, if you want
Mhm.
to be grown, Chaz, we got to do grown things. We
Yep.
have to do grown things. We can no longer say we're grown, but do childish things. As Brother Ray said, we have to be grown men and grown women, and
Mhm.
we have to do grown things and quit acting so immature. And that's one of the problems with us as a community. That's why we haven't gone further because we're still stuck, man. We're still stuck on this little teenage mindset.
Yep, and I just want to piggyback off something that you said a little bit is about, like you said, putting the correct things in our bodies, brother. That was well said because we have a big appetite, and most of us, we just everything we see, we gotta eat. Everything we see on TV, we gotta
Come
go
on.
get. And we have to have a little bit more self-discipline because, like you said, all the stuff that we see, I would probably say 80 to 90% of it is probably bad for you. And then when you add all the chemicals and stuff that they're putting in this stuff, it's just really, really terrible.
And don't change the screen, Chaz, because I want to say something too. We might have to comb this a little bit. Whatever we
Okay.
don't get done with, we're going to pick it up next week. But I want to go back to the first two words,
Okay.
health ownership. Chaz, you own your body
Yes,
from
sir.
the standpoint of you can do what you need to do to take care of yourself. So
Mhm,
can I.
mhm.
Some of us are terrible owners. And
Mm.
I know a lot of times people always talk, and I'm not cracking on anybody's faith, but I want to use this little verse that people use sometimes out of context. They
Okay.
always say that the body is the temple. Well,
Yeah.
if that's the case, some of these temples are broke down, tore up. Some of these temples are just scut bucket.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we say that because it sounds good, but look at your temple. Look at my temple.
Yeah.
It's out of shape.
Yeah.
It's old. We
Yeah.
do nothing to help it. So don't quote these verses when we don't mean what we say. Because if the body is a temple, we got some tore up temples, Chaz.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. You go on a roll today, and let me go ahead and fire back in here with these comments. Brother Ray just popped in. He says, "Suffrage for a better prepared day is worth suffering, or you can suffer for nothing." I'll let you take that, and I'll piggyback off of it.
Yeah, I mean, we suffer a lot, Chaz, because we don't take care of ourselves. We don't own our health. We
Yes.
have no discipline. We're not accountable. And we don't have to suffer for no. We need to do things that's positive to help us to become more and more mature. That's supposed to be the goal in life, is to
Yeah.
grow up. And I
Hmm.
know a lot of times people don't want to hear us talking about this subject
Yeah.
because this is a subject that's in your face. You
Hmm.
can't run from this subject. You
Yeah.
can't sugarcoat this subject. It's right up in your face and it's in all of our minds because I'm talking about my own self. As old as I am,
Hmm.
I need to grow up, Chaz, more than I am. And
Hmm.
this is why a lot of people don't want to look at themselves in the mirror, because the mirror is telling us, grow up. You're still
Yeah.
doing the same things you did 20 years ago.
Yeah, and some of us don't want to shake those cycles because we still see ourselves younger than what we really are. Let me go ahead and read one more comment we got from Sister Barbara. She fires in here and says, "We're grown in the body, but not in the mind. Maturing in our bodies calls for the same thing in the mind. But some of us lack responsibility because we refuse to become conscious of what we think and what our actions are. Don't just talk about it, be about it." Absolutely. That last part where she said, we can talk a good game, we could try to fool people, we could try to trick people to think we got this stuff figured out. But like she's last said on that last part, we gotta be about it. We
Yeah.
have to put this stuff into action. And as she said, that was a well thought out comment. Do you
And
have
Chaz,
anything?
I want to say something on that too. I'm so tired of us fat mouthing, man. I'm really, I mean, I've heard this for many, many, many years, and so have you. We
Okay.
always, and I'm agreeing with the sister, so it's not like I'm coming down on her comment, because it's definitely well said, like you mentioned.
Right.
But a lot of us, Chaz, we always talking, man, but we don't ever do anything to put actions to those words.
Yeah.
And so, like she says, we're grown in the body, but not in mind. We can't have an intelligent conversation because there's nothing in our brains to make us have that
Mm,
conversation. So
mm,
we're not mature. We're just little. And it's like sometimes you want to have that intelligent conversation, but you can't because the other person or yourself, you didn't put anything in there. And that's why a lot of times people don't want to talk about growing old versus growing up, because most of us grow old, but a lot of us, we never grow up.
Okay, I got one more comment, brother, and I promise we'll get back to the points. These are viewers who are firing in here today. Sister Barbara, let me see here. I think she wrote one more time. No, this one is from Brother Ray. He says, "Easy come, easy go. No struggle, no progress. As some say, no pain, no gain. You have to struggle. You have to put in some pain in order to get progress." So this brother's spot on. Now, as we go back to our notes here, we're going to fire back to number 4, which is emotional regulation. Managing your emotions so they don't control your words or behavior. Now, I'm looking at my notes here. Number 4, just because, for example, you may have agreed to pay a bill with someone, they neglected it, they didn't do it. We bottle all that on the inside. So when they ask you a question and they ask you, "Hey, bro, can you go get me some water or whatever?" We just explode on them for no reason, just ready to go off because that's showing how immature we are in the mind. Now
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was one of them, and then the other one I have here. I'm sorry, that's on my next point. That's all I have for that one. Then I'll let you go ahead and take
Yeah,
it.
let me dive in that. Let me come through the back door on this one,
Okay.
because you're absolutely correct. Many of us, we don't know how to manage our emotions. And we can talk about later on, we don't manage our finances, we don't manage our time, we don't manage our talents. And so back to this emotional regulation. This is an immature person. If you told me that a 5 to 10 year old person threw temper tantrums, I would say that's because they're young, they're dumb, they're growing, they
Right,
don't know it.
right.
But many of us, Chaz, are well above 50 or
Mm,
older or a little younger, and we're still throwing temper tantrums, throwing conniption fits because we
mm.
don't know how to manage our emotions. And instead of our emotions being managed by us, we're managed by our emotions. They control us instead of us controlling them. And that's why you have those emotional outbursts. That's why you had that mood instability,
Mhm.
because we haven't grown up. And I want to encourage everybody tonight. I
Yeah,
want to encourage you all that this broadcast tonight, growing old versus growing up, this should really speak to your heart, because if you're honest with yourself, like I'm honest with myself,
mhm.
many of us are too old to be acting the way we act, and we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. But instead of us being told that, we're all told, "You're doing good. You're doing what?" No, you're not. No,
Right.
I'm not. We need to grow up, Chaz. That's all
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and some of us, like you said on this emotional regulation, some of us can't make a solid judgment without saying, well, that was how I felt at the time, or that's how I feel, without making a proper decision. And it's absolutely frustrating. As we fire down to number 5 here, we got impulse control, pausing before reading, spending, eating, or speaking without thought. Now I'm looking here. Now this is one of the negative effects of this impulse control. This could be as far as resisting urges that could be harmful to oneself. And that could also be, like we just mentioned, aggressive outbursts, just saying things loudly and out of nowhere in the improper time, aggressive for no reason. And then the other one I have is a positive example of this impulse control, which is delaying gratification, resisting peer pressure, and managing emotions, not yelling or throwing things when we are upset. That's what I got for my little notes that I jotted down here.
Dude, you must be a philosopher tonight, because you got notes and you looking down and you pointing and stuff. You're really outdoing me tonight. You're showing me up, and so I can't have that. So I'm gonna fire back at you with this.
Okay.
These impulse controls that we're talking about, these are basically people who are acting without thinking. They're reckless, man. I teach little kids from the ages of 10 to about 12. And one of the things that we talk about often is we've got to think before we act, but yet we act without thinking. Now, kids, you can say that too, because kids are learning. But a grown 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old man or woman who just don't know how to put thoughts together and talk to people the way they should be talked to, or letting their emotions getting the best of them at the drop of a hat. We're in a sad state right now, Chaz. We're in a terrible state.
Yes.
And I don't think we see that. We think we've been playing for so long. When I say we
Okay.
have been playing for so long as a people. And now look what we've become. Some of us are almost, you might as well call us stone crazy. We can't even communicate because we don't know how to think before we speak.
And another example I could put in there for the impulse control is, for example, sometime where you have on the screen here as far as spending. Sometimes we may have worked overtime, have a little extra money in the bank, and we just got they say that money is burning a hole in our pocket. We gotta go spend it instead of saving that for a rainy day or just saving it, period. And that falls in line with impulse control, where it's just like we gotta spend, myself included. I have the habit of it, but this is for myself too, because I'm not exempt.
And I'm not gonna let you get away with this one, Chaz, because we didn't mess with that next one. Okay. It says impulse control. That's spending. Then you got eating. Some of us, and I don't really want to say anything to try to belittle anyone, because I mean, even myself included, I've gained so much weight because sometimes I do that as well. But I'm saying us as a group, we don't have a good relationship with food. It's like we on a seafood diet. Whatever we see, we gonna eat it. Seafood. Whatever we see food and we gonna eat it. And this is what we have stooped to, where everything in sight, Chaz, you mean to tell me we have no control over our impulses? You're grabbing cookies, you're grabbing popcorn, you're grabbing snacks, you're grabbing sandwiches, you're grabbing this, you're grabbing that, and we're shoving that in our faces, and we're all gaining weight. And a lot of it is not due to age. They always say, well, the older you get, the more you gain weight. That's a lie. The older we get, the more we eat, because we don't want to deal with the reality that we're dealing with. We don't know how to deal with our problems. We don't know how to deal with ourselves. So we eat. And what happens is we get big. And then when somebody say, you getting big, we say, yep, I'm getting old. You know what, I'm putting on this weight. No, you're not doing anything to keep the weight off, and neither am I.
Well said. Let me go ahead and fire to this next comment. I forgot to read Brother Ray. He says, spousal abuse is a side effect of childishness. And that is, and let's get to that.
Okay.
You can't be a mature adult without putting, and he says spousal abuse. I don't know who the person is, but I'm just saying, for example, putting your hands, beating a person down when you get home from work because your boss yelled at you, or you're just frustrated. You have no self-control. And even though that person may provoke you, they may have said something to you that got on your nerves, but you got to have enough discipline to say, you know what, I heard it, but I'm going to ignore it. I'm not going to react to it. But that spousal abuse, that's terrible in the Black community. In fact, that's how Brother Tyler Perry's getting fat off of us, because he creates these movies, which I'm not knocking his hustle, but he creates these movies off that, these spouses are getting abused left and right, and our Black women they love to go see it. But that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, Chaz, yeah, I mean, I want to take a shot at this too because I think this is a very important, this is a whole different subject that Brother Raymond put on that screen. And I think it's very important that we look at what's going on. But before I say anything, I want to say this to
Okay.
all the viewers. This broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So please set your alarm, set your clocks, and set your schedule so that we can get together and talk about the issues that we face, like growing old and growing up. And as Raymond said, spousal abuse is childishness because little kids like to fight all the time. You know, little kids like to fight. And when we get old, we become big kids. And so all we do the same thing, which is we're fighting one another. We're
Mhm.
arguing with one another and we're abusing one another. So we may have to come back and do a whole broadcast on spousal abuse because
Yeah.
spousal abuse is not just physical, it's verbal, it's negligence,
Yeah.
it's all types of ways that people are abused. So I think that was really good what Ray said.
Appreciate Ray's comment as usual. Number 6, respectfulness. Respectfulness, treating people with dignity, even when you disagree or are frustrated. For example, this is big in the political abuse. I mean, in the political field, where, for example, people who know me, I'm a big John F. Kennedy guy. Some people may be a Trump guy or a Trump woman. Okay, I may not agree with Trump or I may not agree with Biden or whoever, but the point is, that doesn't mean that I gotta cuss you out. I gotta fight you because you're a Trump supporter. If that's what you want, hey, that's what you're gonna do. But you got to learn to say, okay, I like Kennedy, you like Trump. Okay, let's respect each other. But no, fights break out, violence breaks out, spitting at each other, or just people who just can't say, you know what, we agree to disagree without any violence or bloodshed coming out. And that's my biggest takeaway from it because, brother, in the African American community, we as adults, we do not know how to disagree with each other without putting our fist on people.
Yeah, and that's right because when we talk about respect when it comes to growing up, let's see, the fourth word on there is what's really the killer, where it says treating people with dignity. A lot of us don't know what dignity is because we've never had dignity extended to us. So we're
Mm.
brutes, we're brutes, we're savages, we're cavemen. You know, we're Neanderthals. You know, we're Philistines, and we don't know that, and so we act that way because we never looked at what dignity is. And when we talk about even when you disagree or when you're frustrated, see, that's one of the things that we need to talk about too, is because when we get frustrated, we blow a gasket. We go
Mm.
crazy. We go real crazy when we're frustrated. We're so rude, man. We're so impolite, many of us. And this is why we're saying we all have to grow up.
Yeah.
We all have to be grabbed by our proverbial shirt collar and told we are too old to be acting the way we do.
Yeah.
Just because someone disagrees with you, then you're going to curse them out or you're going to be violent towards them or you're
Mhm.
going to call them or talk about something that's unrelated. And so grow old, but also grow up, man.
Yeah, well said. And like I said, I keep using the political thing because that's where it seems like, and it's all other things that people go back and forth on, but the political arena is where a lot of violence and stuff happens where people can't agree to like their person, I like mine, and we go on about our way. But that's just how people are. As we proceed to number 7 here, listening skills,
Uh-oh.
hearing to understand rather than only listening to respond. I'll let you take that one as I take a little sip real quick.
Your chest, this is a good subject tonight. Many of us grow old, but we don't grow up. And here's why.
Okay.
Number 7 says listening skills. We don't hear people to understand. We hear people so that we can respond. So, in other words, when you're teaching me something, instead of me sitting down and listening to learn, I'm waiting to get in because I want to tell you something, see?
Right,
And
right.
so, because what that does is I interrupt you. You're talking. I already have something to say, so I interrupt you because
Mm.
I want to get off. We don't have the art of that. And but yet we want to say that we're grown. That's one of the things we say. I'm grown. Well, you're grown in words, but you're really immature in mentality wise
Yeah.
because a lot of us we don't like to listen. We think we know everything, and that's one of the biggest problems we have as we become adults. We don't want to listen because we know everything. Who
Yeah.
needs to listen when they think they know everything? And that's why it's difficult. It's very difficult for two adults to talk. I find it very difficult in my life now to talk to other adults. to talking to children, okay, I can get through to them.
Right.
But talking to adults, it's hard, Chad, and it shouldn't be this hard. That's because nobody wants to listen. Everybody want to flap.
Yep, and I'll take it. I was just literally going to say that, just that last part. I want to cut that in half. Listening to only respond. There's some people, brother, who have what you call, they call them main character syndrome, or they feel like they're the main person on this earth. Everything revolves around them. They don't care what you have to say. They're waiting on you to be quiet so they can yap and they can talk, and they don't care what you have to say because they love hearing themselves talk and things like that. And that's one thing we have to be aware of. It's not about you. We have to learn how to listen to others and let them get their points across as well. Let me go ahead real quick. I'm behind on my comments here. Brother Ray fires in here and says, dignifying the indignities is a malfunction too. I'll let you take that one and I'll piggyback off of it.
Yeah, he's saying that when we dignify those people who are, let's say, so supposedly more important, that is a malfunction.
Okay.
It really is. But
Okay.
when I'm talking about dignity, I'm talking about treating people with respect because they're human beings. I don't
Right.
care what position you have. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to treat you better or worse than another man because of your title. See, and
Right.
that's what happens in religion a lot of times. When a man puts on a clergy collar or puts on an ankh, when a guy puts on a crescent cross, we you know, when a guy shaves his head and wears orange, you know, and sits around and chants, we look up to them. Chess, I know you ain't drinking no yak on this broadcast, man. You gonna get us? Oh, okay. I was gonna say
Some water, bro. Water,
you
bro.
gonna you gonna get us off this broadcast, man. I look like some yak. But at any rate, we dignify those people who have a position, and
Yeah.
we should know better. See, that's a sign of being immature. Because a kid, when they see they favorite whomever, they get excited and they are all happy. But when they see the common friend of theirs, they treat them like crap. And that's what I believe the brother's saying. And we shouldn't be that way because we got to grow up in our minds. Every last one of us need to grow up.
I agree with you the same way. I mean, if somebody saw Barack Obama coming in at Walmart, they'll,
Oh
go
boy.
ahead and just go crazy. But the guy who works at CVS or Walmart, they treat him like dirt. And like you said, that's sad how people treat people just off of titles. Brother Ray fires in here again. He says, Black people are not good at discussing religions and politics because both of those causes disagreements. Yeah. And like I said earlier, Ray, fights break out, especially with religion. Like you mentioned, you may believe in Buddha, I may believe in the Bible, whatever, but we can't agree to disagree without violence and bloodshed. And that was spot on by Brother Ray. His last comment says, everybody wants to be grown, but not many want to be old. He's joking around here. Okay. Let's go ahead and get back to the next point here. Number 8, conflict resolution, addressing problems directly instead of avoiding them or escalating them. Now, I have a habit of doing this. I like to sometimes cut them in half, but I wanted to get to this one where it says avoiding them. We don't like to call things for what it is. Instead of me and you say, you know what, brother, I don't appreciate what you did. We avoid them, and then sometimes we'll wait and wait. And then sometimes what'll happen is when we wait for so long and you check me up on that, then I explode. So it's like, why can't we just address this man to man? Not in front of a lot of people. I call you on the phone, we meet up, instead of always having to, I got to show you up in front of people. Then you get embarrassed, you get angry. It's not about that. Address these problems like a man or a woman. Go straight up and quit trying to embarrass him or her in front of a group of people. That's all I had to say on that one.
Well, I'm finna lose a lot of friends on this one, and my stock is finna plummet when I say this.
Okay.
But the reason that this is going on and that we're not growing up is because many of us are cowards.
Whoa.
Many of us are cowards because see, a coward will say something and then run and won't confront that person. A coward will go behind your back and talk about you like a dog, but when you show up, the coward is going to be happy, skinning and grinning. See, and a lot of us are cowards because we don't know how to resolve our conflicts. We don't like to sit down and say, you know what you did the other day, I didn't like it at all, man. And I'm gonna tell you why, and we can talk about it. And at the end of the day, we can say, okay, I know how you feel, whatever the case is. And even if you say at the end of the day, well, I'm sorry, but I still did that, blah, 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 and we go our ways. But one of us got to hold on to it
Yeah.
And until we get like 80 years old, and then when we get to drinking, or when we get to smoking, or when we get to playing cards, or when something makes us angry, I'm gonna blurt out. I'm gonna blurt out. You know, Chaz, 40 years ago, and you're like, dude, you still talking about that? And I'm like, yeah, I never forgot it, because we don't know how to sit down, and that's why you don't get a lot of comments on these kind of broadcasts. You
Yeah.
don't get many comments because a lot of us are cowards, man. We tuck our tail between our legs because we don't like conflict. And
Yeah.
conflict is not bad. Conflict is not bad, but we look at it as bad. Oh, I'm not going to confront them. Like if a person, and I'll turn it back over to you, but this is what we say.
Okay.
Someone owes you money,
Mhm.
and you know that it's been way beyond the time that they should pay you back.
Right.
Instead of you telling them, hey, or saying, hey, you know what, you owe me. I haven't, you said you're going to pay me last week, and you haven't paid me yet, blah, blah, blah. That person will say, I ain't going to ask them. They know they owe me, because they don't want to resolve the conflict. And then they want to just continue to badmouth that person.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that they owe you. Go tell them. They're the ones who you loaned them the money.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like you said, brother, there's nothing wrong with conflict. Like me and you, we can talk it out like men. We can talk this thing out instead of always, like I said, hollering at one another. Because normally when people start to shout and yelling, the other person gets embarrassed, the other person gets frustrated, and then it goes back and forth. But there's nothing wrong with calling you on the phone or meeting up and talking like men and say, hey, this is what you did to annoy me. I didn't appreciate that, or without cursing either, or calling people out of their names, using obscenities. That's another thing we do. But like you said, just talking man up and hashing this thing out instead of, like I said, using obscenities and things like that. We got one more comment. Brother Ray says, a leader doesn't get respect from their followers. They may get fear from their followers, but that's not respect. Respect must be given to be received. Yeah, it depends. Some leaders get respect, some don't. But like this brother is saying, you got to give respect to get it. He also fires in here again and says, intelligent conflict can be a positive affirmation. Yeah, I literally just said that, talking one-on-one without embarrassing one another and without other people around, calling that brother or sister on the phone and hashing it out like adults instead of blasting each other on social media, or I come to your house and, try to make a scene and stuff like that. Let me go ahead and move on to the next one here. Nope, I'm sorry. Number 9, delayed gratification, choosing long-term benefits over short-term pleasure. Now, this one I got here is self-control. Taking your behind home. You got work in the morning. You don't need to be in that club. You could have gotten a shootout there because an ignoramus could have been there under the influence. Get your behind home and in that bed. And that's the main one that I have for long-term benefits over short-term pleasure. What's your take on that?
And I want to say that too about how a lot of us don't grow up because we want to basically do something that makes us feel good at the moment. See, we don't want to wait.
Right.
We don't want to work hard for something. We don't want to struggle for something. We don't want to plan for something. We want that microwave mentality. We want it right now. And if we don't get it, what do? We act like little kids. We pout. And so instead of us growing up, we grow backwards. See, and I wish there was some kind of device, and I would probably be shocked with mine. But if I wish there was a device that can hook up to each one of us, and it can tell the way we act. In other words, they would hook it up to my arm, and then in 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, it'll tell me on the printout how old I act. I bet you, man, if that was honest and pure, most of us would be surprised at what that number would say, because we think we're in our 50s and 60s and 70s and 40s and 30s, but we're really not. We're teenagers, man.
Yeah.
We're not even teenagers. We're little babies because we want to have that instant gratification because it's short term. We don't want to look at. We're impatient. That's what it boils down to. We're impatient. You see, we want that instant gratification.
I'm laughing here because, Brother Ray, this one is funny now. This one is between y'all here. He says, Icky, I ain't forget how you call me in front of Joe, bro.
See, see,
What you was joking around them doing,
no, but
dog?
see, what I'm trying to say though, I was much younger and much dumber then. See, so he's
Okay.
right. As young men, teenagers, we were in high school together, and we would do some crazy things, and we would do stupid stuff. And he's talking to see, he hasn't forgot that. So he's a good example. He's a good example of what I said. So he had held
Okay.
on to this all these years, and now he fired back at me. So he's trying to see, let people know that I acted a fool with one of my other friends. And it's like, but it's all in love because I
Yeah.
know he's having fun. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is he's right.
Yeah.
People don't forget what you do. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's a sign of an immature person.
Yeah. I'm cracking up laughing too, man. Brother Ray fired that one in there. I didn't expect you to come out, but we always appreciate his comments. Around here. But like you said, brother, we got to get some. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with every now and then having short-term pleasure, but it becomes a problem where it takes over our lives. And it's like we're constantly doing that 90% of the time instead of taking care of what needs to be taken care of. As we move on to number 10 here, time management. Using time intentionally instead of wasting it and calling it being busy. Yeah, because some of the things that we have, it can wait. Now, there's some things that need to be addressed immediately. But when you take a look at our lives, where some of the things we do, we're always on our phone, we're not doing the things that we need to do, and then we procrastinate, and then things get pushed back. But this is very, very good on time management because if we were honest with our lives, myself included, we waste a lot of time doing a lot of dumb stuff, bro. We waste time doing stuff in fact, on a lot of stuff that's not important, and the things that are important, we neglect.
We
And
really
I want
do.
to take that one.
Yeah, we really do because here's my take on that. A lot of us, we don't know how to use time wisely.
Yeah.
I mean, when you give us time, you see what we do. We grab a cell phone and we scroll. When you give us time, what do? We grab a cell phone, we call somebody, we talk to them on the
Mhm.
phone all day. What do? When we use time not wisely, what do? We go somewhere and do something that's just erroneous.
Yeah.
And then we say, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm busy. You're not busy. You're just wasting time. You never read the book. I never watch something educational. I never sit down and try to do some thought provoking insights to how I can be a better man. I never look at what ways I can do to help my community. See, that's using time wisely because that's what grown people do. But
Mhm.
these older people who are kids, we pick everything we can to do to say that we're doing something that's grown when it's really not grown. Watching TV for 8 hours is not grown, man.
Yeah.
That's childish because what it does is it clogs up the mind. And we didn't have broadcasts about what happens to the mind when you don't use it, how it doesn't reset. We've talked about the amygdala. We've talked about the hippocampus. We've talked about the hypothalamus. We've talked about all those scientific terms that we
Right.
go through. But at the end of the day, Chaz, a lot of us, we're young, but we don't want to face it. And we don't want to grow up because we don't know how to grow up.
Well said. As we go ahead and fire on here to this next point.
Uh-oh.
This one is hitting me home. Number 11, financial responsibility. Managing money wisely rather than living in a constant crisis. Now, I talked this a little bit earlier. Some of our jobs are fortunate us to give us overtime. We may look at our checks, we make a little bit more extra money than we expected. But we blow that money. We're on Amazon, we're on eBay, we're on footballfanatics.com, NBA.com. We're going to all these websites looking at ways to give our money instead of saying, you know what? Let me go ahead and save that extra $200 I have. You never know what can happen when you may have a tire blowout, something go wrong with the car, and you need that money. But like I said, brother, when we get access to extra money, most of us, we're thinking of ways on how to spend it. We cannot keep that money in that bank account. We can't keep it in our wallet. We have to give it away. And we have to be, myself included, we have to be more sharp when it comes with this money. Brother, what do you think about that?
I think you hit the nail on the head because you show me a grown person and I'll show you a person who knows how to manage money. You show me a teenager or a child and I'll show you a person who blows money. When you give money to a kid, they don't know the value of it. So they'll take it and go spend it foolishly. They'll buy all kind of frivolous things. And we get angry with them and say, You spent that $5 on this and that and the other. And it's like they don't know any better because they don't understand the value.
Right.
But many of us have been around for a long time, and most of us are in debt. Let me just be honest tonight, Chaz.
Oh shoot.
Most of us are in debt, financial debt. We are robbing Peter to pay somebody. It ain't Paul anymore. It used to be Paul, but now it's somebody else because we we owe Paul too. We can't pay Paul, so
What?
we're robbing Peter to pay somebody because Paul looking for us. You see, Paul is looking for us because now we owe Paul, and this is the disgrace in what we're talking about when it comes to growing up. We want a conversation that's gonna make people feel good. I know you in your 40s, but you're doing a good job. No, you're not.
Yeah.
I know you in your 50s or 60s, but you holding it down. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
We are in debt because we don't know how to manage our money. And it's not so much that we don't have it, it's just that we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
That's a sign of an immature man or immature woman. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but we got to keep it real because of the love that we have for the people. We have to tell them the truth. And this is why we're struggling right now, because a lot of people aren't interested in having these kinds of discussions.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. I know this is how a lot of people fall out. You know, some relatives move in with each other, and they say, "Okay, bro, we got this apartment or we got this house. You're gonna agree to pay $600 every 2 weeks. We agree. We get it in paperwork and sign. You know, it starts off you paying that $600 for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden you get cocky and say, I ain't giving him anything." And then you go having an altercation with your relative or friend that you moved in with because you made an agreement to pay that rent. Now all of a sudden you just cold turkey stop paying it for whatever reason, and that's a shame and a disgrace when people get like that. I think a lot of roommates in college do that, where they get move in with each other and they eventually fall out because one stops paying the other rent on the side.
I want to say something else too, Chaz. That's when relatives stay with relatives. That's another thing. They don't want to help out because there's a spectrum that I'm looking at. There's two ends of the spectrum. I hope everybody can see my little hands here. There's two ends of the spectrum. On one end, there's overspending. We spend, 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 spend. On the other end is financial neglect. So this is where we don't pay what we're supposed to pay. So all of our lives, Chaz, and this is what makes me want to cry. All of our lives, we spend it on both of those spectrums. We either overspending or we're neglecting doing what we're supposed to do. And that's a sign of an immature man or woman. And the people don't want to hear that kind of language because they think that people are talking down to them. But we're being honest. This is being real. But we want somebody to tell us, you're doing a great job. No, you're not, because we are struggling financially because many of us have a child's mindset. I have a child's mindset, and I have to make sure that I'm no longer a child. I have to look at the things that I'm doing to say, I got to do better, not just talk about it, but I got to be about it and not just talk about it. And that's why we're having this discussion tonight, because a lot of us, we just won't grow up.
Absolutely. Our brother Ray fires in here again. He says, a fool and his money will soon be apart. A poor man might not be able to be a millionaire, but a wise man can be a multi-thousandaire. Yeah, we gotta, like he said, some of us, and it all depends, being around the right person at the right time, getting good advice from that individual. But he's saying that a poor man may not be able to be a millionaire, but a wise man can be a multi-thousandaire, meaning a poor man is probably going to make bad decisions, do things that he shouldn't be doing, but a wise man is going to say, you know what, this money needs to be saved. I need to invest this money, get into crypto and XYZ. We appreciate this comment. As we go ahead to the next banner here, it is number 13, boundaries. Knowing when to say no and protecting your time, energy, and values. Now, I do this a lot on Sundays. I may be light as far as throughout the week. I do things for people. I go to the store. I go do this and that. On Sundays, I refuse to come out of my house. I'm not going anywhere on that day. And in fact, people who know me, don't call me on Sunday. I'm not going anywhere. Don't ask me to go do this. I have to be blunt and honest here because, brother, that is protecting your energy. That is saying, you know what? I am not going to do. Now, if it's an emergency, where someone
Right,
is at the hospital yet.
right, right,
But
right.
other than that, go do this for me. I'm not doing that on that Sunday. They know that, and you gotta be blunt and honest with that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, Chaz, the reason why a lot of us have no boundaries is because we're wilding out. We're crazy, man. We're crazy. See, we don't like to hear that, but we're crazy, man. We really are. We're
Yeah.
people pleasers. Whatever people tell us to do, we want people to think that we're all that. Whatever you ask me to do, I can jump through this hoop for that person. I can do that. And we don't have any boundaries where we say, I've set boundaries to say no because I
Mhm.
want to protect my time. I'm reading a good book now, and I say for the next hour or hour and a half, I'm not going to do anything. So
Mhm.
when the phone rings, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm going to keep reading. When something comes on television and I know it's a certain time, I'm going to keep reading that book to get this knowledge, this insight from one of my ancestors.
Right.
We don't have that, man. So what happens is we say, I'm going to read this book. As soon as we take a sneak peek on that phone and see who it is, we put the book down, we pick up the phone, and now an hour later, we're done and we say, I'm getting ready to go to bed. And
Yeah.
each day is something that prohibits us from doing what we're supposed to do. That's why I say we are crazy, man. And people don't think enough to look at what that word means. We do the same thing, man, every day, and the result is still the same. But we don't want to be told we're crazy because we think that we got it going on, but we're really immature.
Yeah.
Little kids in grown in old people bodies.
Mhm. Well said. And like you said, we have to, and there's nothing wrong with saying no, because some people will say, well, can you ever help me? We come on now. We say we will help you, but there has to be a time and a place where we put our foot down and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And it's not that I don't love you. It's just I'm not going to do it because I'm just not, because like you said, you're reading, you're exercising, you're doing all kind of other things to try to help you get yourself in a better
Don't
place.
change that. Don't change that, Chad. I see you finna knock that off. Don't
Okay.
change this. You working the controls today and you just hitting buttons, like
And
no, Mike.
I'm trying to stay on top.
But I'm saying that last word is what I want to say. It
Okay.
says knowing when to say no and protecting your time, energy, and values. That's the part that's really troubling. Chaz, I'm going to be frank, as I have been all night.
Okay.
A lot of us have no values, man.
Mm.
Let's be honest, man. Let's be honest.
Wow.
We have no values. And so because we have no values, we don't know when to say no. But if we
Mhm.
had values, we would say, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do this. But when you have no values, you're like the wind.
Yep.
Wherever it blows, that's where you have to go, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm gonna go ahead and let's see here and get to this next point here. Number 14, empathy practice. Making the effort to understand how others feel, not just how you feel. And that is what's going on in society, brother. As I look around, most people don't have empathy for others. I mean, you can see a man on the news. Sometimes he's in a fatal car crash or something terrible. He falls off of a motorcycle. And people will say, well, he shouldn't have been on that bike riding that fast of a speed. Or, you know what? I don't care. It's not me. Brother, I hate to say this, but it feels like in this generation, especially these young kids, they don't have any love. They don't have any empathy. Now, there are a few, let me be fair, there are a few who still care, but as the big picture, most people they don't care anymore. And I don't know what it is, why it's gotten like that, because I think around 2003 and 2004, it felt like a little bit people had more empathy, but in 2026, man, it is far gone. And we don't care. We don't even want to make an effort to see, why did he do that or why is she feeling like that? We just not caring. What's your take on that?
And I want to add to that because I think our society has spiraled out of control a long, long time ago. And
Yeah.
this is why I say that. Number one, if you will take your illustration and say a gentleman fell off of a motorcycle and he hurt himself badly.
Mhm.
Some of these African American comedians and others as well, but I'm talking about the African American comedians, they will make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And the people that's in the audience will laugh at it.
Hmm.
And so all that will become a joke. Then somebody will put the meme on social media where he's lying on the street and then they'll put something else with it, where like he's trying to pick up flowers, and then everybody will start saying, "Did you see that meme?" So then that'll be every. We have lost our minds, Chaz, and I know I sound like the man who says the sky is falling. The sky is falling. It is falling, Chaz, but we don't want to look at it to say we are some sick individuals. We're as a society, many of us are, not all of us. So we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But as we talk about making the effort to understand how others feel, we're selfish, we're hedonistic. We don't care how people feel. We just do them like the Bible says. Some people says, "Do unto others before do unto others as you will have them do unto you." But we have a new motto: do unto others, then split. Do unto then split. Get out the way before they can get you back. And this is why we are in such a bad state today, because most of us as adults, we don't want to grow up, man. And this subject is so pertinent. People don't want to hear this discussion, man. And I'm telling you, I'm included. All of us are included. But we don't want to have this discussion. I bet if we were to do a broadcast to say, everybody tonight, name 3 things that you need to grow up about, we wouldn't have many people put what it is, because most of us should be having things on this screen. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. But we look at other people like they have the problem when we have the problem.
Yeah, and I hate to keep hitting on this brother's movies and stuff, but I'll never forget. I was a young kid when this movie came out, and I know it was just a movie, but this is the point. It was a Tyler Perry movie. A dude, a black man, was dating a woman, and I guess he did her wrong. The point was he got older. The woman kept seeing him. He got sick. He got confined to a wheelchair. One of the scenes was the dude, I guess, was upstairs, and the woman that got fed up, she pushed the man down the stairs, and everybody in the audience, they were clapping, and the women said, "Yeah." And when I looked at that, that's how I knew society was going. Now, some say, "Well, he shouldn't have treated her like that in those years before." Okay, that's true, but you still don't mock a man because he's got sick now, and you're laughing at his pain, saying that's what he gets. And women and the men in there were clapping, saying that was something that they look forward to. When I saw that in that theater, that's how I knew society.
Let me say this, Chaz, because I know we still have another point, and maybe we want to get it in. But sometimes when you're raised in a jungle, and I'm not saying nobody's parents are animals, so nobody don't mistake what I'm saying. Right. But when you're raised in the wild, when you're raised in the savannah, when you're raised in the concrete jungle, and you don't take heed to the truth, that's what you get, especially when you've been done wrong. Because a lot of those women, the only reason they're clapping, and I gotta say this, is because they have been done wrong. Yeah. And so they living through that woman, you see. They're living their lives through that woman, and it makes them feel good. I got him back. I'm getting him back. But that's not real, man. That's not real, man.
Yeah. Let me go ahead, brother. I appreciate you for letting me do this today. I cannot explain how much. I hope I did well. We got a couple.
Well, Chaz, you did your thing.
Well, I appreciate that. We got a couple comments before we wrap up tonight. Brother Ray, I really appreciate this when he says, "Y'all stay on the right path like you guys do naturally." I appreciate that, and you guys both. We appreciate that, Brother Ray. We appreciate your support. We appreciate that comment, that well thought out comment. Yeah. And we really do. We really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, because see, here's a man that's in Indiana. Brother Raymond Coleman, he's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, he has a lot of things that he can do, but he always tunes in. Now, he misses every blue moon, but he always tunes in to watch this broadcast like the faithful ones we talked about at the beginning. Yeah. So he's vested in this broadcast. Yeah. That's the least he could do. And I'm like, we appreciate brothers like that who know that the truth is going to be told. He knows we're going to tell the truth because he tells the truth. And so we appreciate this brother to encourage us instead of saying, y'all need to get off that broadcast. Y'all two bums. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Like some people that be hating. It's like sometimes people have to understand that's a part of maturity when you can encourage somebody or because he ain't on here, he's mad. See, this is what I'm saying, Chaz.
Yeah, and like I said, we really do appreciate that comment, brother. Like we got some points that we didn't get a chance to finish, and that's all fine. We're going to come back next week and pick this thing up. Part 2, growing old versus growing up. I know you normally let me do it, but I want to flip it this time. Let you give some final words, some any thoughts, and I'll probably piggyback. But what was your take about tonight's broadcast in totality?
I really appreciate tonight's broadcast because this is a conversation that we should have had a long time ago, especially when you're confronting grown people, older people, because most of us, when we get to a certain age, we don't like to be told anything. But here you have two guys encouraging them. See, they don't even look at this as an encouragement. They look at it as if, man, who they think they are. They can't tell me what to do, as opposed to saying, this is something that I need. This is something that I need in my heart. I need to grow up because all of us we all have shortcomings. And so a lot of times we don't want to grow up. And it's like when you hear these kind of discussions, this should make us leave saying, I got to be better, Chazz. I got to start working on my life so that I won't become this little baby like I act in many instances. So it's like, I appreciate the broadcast. I thank everybody for tuning in. You know, you did an excellent job, man. You know, I can't hear the music. If it's playing, that's good. But you know, you held it down. This is your first time hosting it. You the lead man. Just don't think you moving me out the way now, because no, don't think you moving me off my throne now. But I'm gonna let you have a little bit of it, you know. But you know, you can't do that though, Chazz.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Let me see here. We got one more comment. I was gonna say next week I want to see if I can run it back and do the same thing again. Sister Machada, she got one last comment. And she says, "Shimotep brothers, we appreciate her." And finna find this little log outro music. And tonight, like I said, myself is included, brother. I have some points with the financial things, sometimes just outbursts. Just a lot of issues touch me too, which I'm included. Like I said, I need to start doing things with the finances, because sometimes I get carried away here when I don't, when I get a little bit extra fun. So we go appreciate that. I hope to see you guys next week. And we find this outro music here. And I hope to see you guys again next week.